For more on the Russia investigation, we turn to Jon Allen, columnist for Roll Call. John, good morning.
Good morning.
It seems like this meeting story just won't settle, will it? I mean, we're still not entirely sure who was there.
Right. The list of attendees is growing with each passing minute. Obviously, it wasn't 40 or 50 people, but it was not 2 or 3 people. So we're up to 6, 7, 8 people. It's not going away for a couple of reasons. Number one, it really is the sort of smoking gun connecting the allegations of collusion to an actual exhibit of something that looks like collusion. And then number two, because Donald Trump Jr. went out and said that he'd kind of shown everybody everything, and it turned out that wasn't the case.
And then the president praised his transparency,
right?
Which was not entirely transparent, as it turns out.
It turns out that he was more being, transparency is kind of a double-sided word there. Like, yeah. It was transparent that he was lying pretty quickly.
It sort of has raised questions of credibility for the White House, but also for the Republican Party trying to move forward legislation right now. It's got to be a huge frustration for them as well.
It is a frustration for them. I actually think these are two separate issues where...
You don't think there's an impact?
I think the reason that Republicans are struggling with the health care legislation in particular is that it's a bill that's tremendously unpopular in the public. I mean, if you look at the approval ratings on that, that's the key issue. And I think it's convenient to sometimes blame what's going on at the White House on other issues, particularly with Russia, as a reason that the health care bill isn't moving forward. But I think Republicans actually need right now to pass something more than they otherwise would because of what's going on with the Russia scandal. So if anything, I think it augurs well for those who are trying to collect those votes.
And it's difficult at this point for the Republicans to move on to anything else before they deal with health care, correct?
That's right. They've promised to do this for 7+ years now, to repeal and replace Obamacare. First it was repealed, now it's repeal and replace. And a lot of them, most of them feel like they can't go home to their constituents and say, we didn't get this done.
What is the reality? Because right now we already have 2 Republicans who have said they will not vote for it. So you sit at that 50, which is the only threshold that they have. How realistic is it we'll see it pass?
Well, so you've got this test vote coming up this week where they need to get 51, including Vice President Mike Pence. If they get the 50, we're on that threshold right now. There are still a lot of Republican senators who haven't said that they're going to vote to proceed. So I think right now it's still up in the air. And then, of course, even if they get that motion to proceed, that doesn't necessarily mean that they'll be able to pass the bill, nor does it mean that they'll be able to reconcile that bill with the House bill and actually send something to President Trump.
They haven't scored this yet.
Right. We haven't seen the CBO's, the Congressional Budget Office's estimate of exactly what this bill would do because there have been so many changes.
Yeah. And how critical do you think that is to its potential passage?
I think it's important. I think that without it, it makes it a lot harder for senators who are undecided to sort of take a leap of faith. If they know what the numbers are, then they can try to frame how they're going to argue why they voted for it or why they voted against it.
One of the interesting things has been when we saw Obamacare, President Obama was there in the forefront and able to help push that along. You haven't had President Trump able to do that in this case.
That's right. I think that may be a preference of the congressional leaders, that it would not necessarily be helpful for them, especially in the Senate right now, for President Trump to be on Capitol Hill really pushing this bill. I think the argument that in order to get this done, you've got to have Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell making the argument to these senators that they are better off passing this, even if it's unpopular, than doing nothing.
Jon Allen, thank you very much. We appreciate the insight.
Thank you, Dana.